Welcome back to the part 3 of the Brihadeshwar temple modeling series. In the previous videos we have modeled this much portion of the temple, and in this video we are going to model it further. So here I am hiding all the things and we need to look at the reference so that we can get to know what we need to model it further. So duplicate this object and place it at the front and now select this last object and duplicate it using the Shift D command and place it on the top of the floor. So here what we can do is we can scale the object and change its proportion and size. Duplicate it one more time and place it on the top of this object, and also change its scale and size. And one more duplication. So here you can see as soon as the object goes above, its shape and size decreases, and that is what we want. So now what we can do is we can make the wall of this floor with some creative work, like we can make pattern on this wall. So I am adding a loop cuts around this empty areas. So here you can see I have added 3 loop cuts at each of these areas. Now using the face selection tool, select the faces in this pattern or whatever the pattern you like. So you need to do the selection of each of these faces just manually, like right over here. Once the face selection has been done, then what we can do is we can insert a face and we can move it along the x-axis so as to make the cavity of that face. And as soon as you move the face, you can scale it down. So here you can see I have converted the face into the circle using the loop tools, and then extruding them along the normals so as to get the pop out view of the circular shape. So here you can see it is looking amazing. And now duplicate this object and place it right over here. And going to the edit mode of the object, we need to fill these gaps first. So selecting the loops and pressing F on the keyboard. So here I have selected the loop and press F on the keyboard. You can fill the gaps. Press slash on the keyboard to isolate the object so that you can properly work on that object. So in order to solve this scaling problem, what you can do is select the object, go to the object menu at the top and change the origin from the object to geometry. Now scale down this object, and here you can see it is not mirrored on the x-axis. So what we can do is, I am just removing this mirror modifier, and at this point I am adding a new mirror modifier and change the mirror object to this one, and turn on the clipping option. And now in the edit mode, move the object very close to each other. And I'm just checking where to place this particular cube. So I think I should place it right over here and just scaling it. So as soon as I scale it in the object mode, you can see it is not working properly. So we need to scale it on the x-axis in the edit mode only. Since the mirror modifier has been working in this object, so if you scale it in the object mode, then due to the mirror modifier effect, it will be separated from the center, and that is what we don't want. Now duplicate this object and place it on the top of it and scale it downward. So again the same problem. As soon as we scale it in the object mode, it doesn't work in the object mode and it will separate the object from the center. So always keep in mind, when the mirror modifier has been working, then try to scale it in the edit mode only. So now I am selecting this topmost portion of this object and I have extruded it along the z-axis. So now add a loop cut and move it right over here, and selecting his faces at the topmost region and move them along the z-axis. And now select these faces and extrude them along the y-axis. Now again we need to add a loop cut and moving it right over here, and now again selecting these faces and extruding them along the y-axis. So once the extrusion has been done, we can select each of these loops right over here, and what we can do is we can press Ctrl B on the keyboard in order to bevel this loop and increase the bevel count so that the edge of the object will become smooth and will be much better looking. So you can do that beveling with all the edges that you think should have the rounded cut. So once the beveling has been done, I am selecting these faces and turning them into a dissolved one. I mean, turning it into the one faces and inserting the face and doing the same process of making a cavity into that object by using couple of inserting face and then moving them into their respective inverted direction. So you can follow this same process throughout the each of this, I mean inserting the face and that kind of thing. Now selecting this object, go to the edit mode and select the bottom part of the object and extrude it along the z-axis. So what we are going to do is we are going to make the steps of this temple. So extrude it couple of times and try to scale it. So as soon as the steps progresses downward, their scale will be increasing. And now selecting each of these faces and extruding them along the y-axis. So now what we can do is we can select this bottom faces and extruding it along the x-axis so that the steps of the temple will become more spreaded and will look much better. So here you can see the steps have been made, and now we can cover up this remaining portion by simply duplicating this objects. And so here you can see the steps are not aligning properly with the ground. So what we can do is we can move the bottommost part in the z direction so that the proportion will be matched, and you can adjust some of the parameters like the difference in size and shape. So now I am duplicating this whole object so that the bottommost part of the temple has been made, and this is looking amazing. Almost 70 to 80% of the modeling of this temple has been done, and in the viewport you can see the texture is not looking perfect. So what we can do is we can go to UV editing tab, selecting each of these vertices and press U and unwrap it. So you can see here the texture has been evenly applied throughout the object, and if it is not working in your model, you can go with the Smart UV project by pressing U on the keyboard and then selecting the second option. So here I am doing the same UV editing with all the objects so that the texture would be evenly spread throughout that object, and you can change the angle and do some of the necessary changes. Now we need to beautify the entrance of this temple. For that I am having a pack for you, which you can get it from the Gumroad, and it is the pack of having 4 pillars which are available to you at a very cheap price, and you can download it from the Gumroad, and the link for the download is available in the description box. And here I am importing the object as the obj file. So after the download, so your file will be available in your download section, and you can import it just like this. So here you can see it is having the 4 pillars of different shape and size, and each of these pillars are having different designs too. However, for this model we are going to use the any one pillar, whatever you like. So here I am deleting the remaining pillars and I am going to use this pillar. So first of all, what we can do is we can just go to the object menu and set origin to geometry, so that the object orientation will be done from the center of mass of this object and not at any random place. So now scale this object down and place it at the proper position. So we are going to place this pillars at the entrance of this temple. So I am scaling it down and placing it at the proper position. Now once the object has been placed at its proper position, what we can do is we can duplicate the object and place it right over here and bring it more outward at x-axis. And now add a mirror modifier and change the mirror object to this one. Add the mirror modifier to both the pillars, and so that they will be applied at both the sides. Now it's the time to add the texture, and we are going to apply the same texture of this temple to this pillar. So copy the material and paste it right over here. Do the same thing with the another pillars. So now you can see I have added the lighting to this temple, and I am looking from the camera point of view. So now what we can do in order to improve the texture and the patterns on the wall of the temple, I have downloaded one more thing that is available on Sketchfab for free. So I have imported this pattern and I am just scaling it downward, and what we can do is we need to place this this object on the wall of the temple. So I'm just rotating it in a proper direction. So here you can see it is an amazing pattern, and it would be looking good on the wall of the temple. So now I am just rotating it properly and just thinking where to place it. So let's place it on the back wall. So here I'm just moving it along the back side, and we can just place it right over here, and don't worry about the difference in texture, we will solve that at the end. So here I'm just scaling it along the Z direction and rotating it properly and placing it. So here you can see it is just inverted. So we can rotate it by 180 degree. So I am just changing the material and applying the original material of our temple. But you can see it is not looking good when we apply that material. So in order to solve that problem, I am going to the shading tab, and what we can do is just select this whole object, I mean the whole node 3, and add a mix node and mix shader and place it right over here, and just connect this to the second slot of the mix shader. And now duplicate it and place it right over here along the x-axis. And now again, after selecting this, duplicate them along the y-axis and then place it right over here. So here you can see it is not looking good from this angle. So what we can do is we can just move them backward and rotate it properly. So do the same thing with the upper plates of the design. Since these objects are available for free, so these issues are common in the objects which are available for free. However, our purpose has been solved and the wall of the temple has been having a very good kind of designs and decoration. So this much for this video, and we will meet in the next